What are idioms where everyone ignores the second part? Great minds think alike, though fools seldom differ. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, popularized by The Shining, actually has a second line of, all play and no work makes Jack a useless toy. I usually hear, the proof is in the pudding, when it's, the proof if the pudding is in the eating, so the proof is in the eating, not the pudding. Happy as a clam, at high tide, because they are safe from predators at high tide. Money is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. One bad apple. Whenever you hear of people and institutions or organizations doing wrong, they say this. There's been stories about abuse, violence and racism from the Met Police in the UK, for example, and defenders will describe the perpetrator as just a bad apple. The full idiom is, one bad apple spoils the barrel. Knowledge is power, France is bacon, possibly too obscure, but east is east, and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. Used to be used a lot to suggest Eastern and Western cultures were inherently incompatible, but the full verse kind of concludes the opposite. _oh, east is east, and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. Till earth and sky stand presently at God's great judgment seat. But there is neither east nor west, border, nor breed, nor birth. When two strong men stand face to face, though they come from the ends of the earth. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. It's my country, right or wrong. Most folks seem to think it means, take it flaws and all, never wavering in devotion. The full quote is, if right, to be kept right, but if wrong to be set right. My ex's grandmother used to say, I could care less, but I'd have to try. I don't know if this is an historically accurate version of the phrase. Personally, I'm in the couldn't care less camp, but it does make me smile. I'm gonna do the opposite and list ones where people add second parts as if they were always there. Most of these change the meaning to be the exact opposite of the intended one. There is no evidence that blood is thicker than water was originally, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That notion is about 30-ish years old and comes from two guys who cite zero sources. There is, however, plenty of evidence suggesting that the phrase was always, blood is thicker than water, or something similar. The earliest similar phrase is in German from the 12th century, but that's almost certainly not where the current phrase comes from. More likely, it came from Scottish sources. These ones unambiguously say, blood is thicker than water, with exactly the apparent interpretation. The earliest reference to an alleged longer phrase is from 1994. This thread goes more into it. https://english.stackexchange.com/questions/14790/2/original-meaning-is-water-is-thicker-it-real. First expanded reply. Regarding Jack of all trades, master of none, the original is something along the lines of Jack of all trades. The master of none part was added in the 18th century, but even then it had no negative connotation. Now, personally speaking, I never interpreted the phrase to be disparaging, and it was new to me just recently that it's used as such. Until reading Reddit threads, I had never heard it used non-positively. That said, the final part about being better than a master of one is only attested at best in the last 40 or so years, and that's a generous time frame. It's right to say that it's originally a positive statement about being well-rounded, but this original phrase being Jack of all trades, master of none, but better than a master of one is a historical nonsense. It's perhaps unsurprising at this point that curiosity killed the cat on its own is the older version, though *curiosity* was originally *care*. The time frame here is much shorter. The version using **** dates to the late 1500s, the version using ****curiosity** dates to the 1800s, and the version with the added part of satisfaction dates to 1905 exactly. It is ***, not ***. Originally, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. As for, the customer is always right, once again, there is zero evidence suggesting that the original phrase was, the customer is always right in matters of taste. The idea of the original phrase was that customer satisfaction should be prioritized. Similar phrases from the time, 1900s, the decade include French, le client n'est jamais tort, the customer is never wrong, which is from hotelier Caesar Ritz, who thought that if a customer doesn't like a dish, it shall be removed and replaced, no questions asked. This is a very narrow application of the idea which does line up with the fake longer phrase, but it's not proof that the longer version is real. Likewise, there's German, der Kunde ist König, the customer is king, and Japanese, hiragana letter O, unified ideograph B, unified ideographed, hiragana letter H, unified ideograph, unified ideographed, hiragana letter T, hiragana letter Su, the customer is a god. This was, in part, meant to give customers more power over more shady shopkeepers and override the earlier idea of, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. Of course, even back then people realized that dishonest customers can game the system. The person who is usually listed as inventing this phrase, Harry Gordon Selfridge, doesn't have a direct quote attributed to him for this, but he definitely is responsible for popularizing the idea through his implementation of it. Newspapers were the first to give it a name, and the original was, in fact, the customer is always right. Some later altered it to give the idea that the customer shall be assumed to be right until it is demonstrably obvious that they are wrong, but the quote never had any mention of taste until recently. My pet peeve is this one, the proof is in the pudding. But the true idiom is, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Proof meaning test. A German one, which became a famous slogan of the pacifist movement, image there's a war and nobody goes there. The original quote by the playwright Brecht continues, then the war will come to you. People say, ignorance is bliss, when the full expression is, if ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. The hand that rocked the cradle is the hand that rules the world. It just irks me that people think of the early 90s movie when they hear the first half of the quote. It makes it seem a sinister phrase when it comes from an old poem which was an ode to motherhood, Yusu Naito. Dang, this was a trivia mafia round a few weeks back. I should remember them. When people show you who they are, believe them. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou. The full Tolkien quote is, all that is gold is not glitter, not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost.